Hey YouTube. Well, as you can see, I'm here doing another lower limb ATG knees over toes workout, and I'm doing this tibialis raise with the tib bar that was sent to me from the home gym guys. I want to thank you once again. So I hope you guys enjoy hanging out with me here today as I go through a little bit of a, I guess you could call rehab, prehab, building up the lower limb workout today. So if any of you have ever followed the ATG routines, right? There's a zero protocol, right? It's like a basic protocol. That's what I've been doing with myself. I do it with my kids. I've been helping my daughter's soccer team and doing some stuff with them. But recently, he's come out with an advanced zero routine. I've just been itching to try it. That's what I'm doing here today. So, seems like you guys enjoy just hearing me rant in between my sets and stuff. So we'll continue with this. Kyle picks out some current events and topics and things that are going on in the news and in the world. And I'll just share my opinion on it. Well, also, if you enjoy this Elliot, shit people ask Elliot format style video, then just drop your questions down below, bro. And we'll see where it goes. All right. So, what do you got, Kyle?
Ooh, do you want to start politics or pop culture? What are you in the mood
Just
for?
throw something at me, bro, wherever we're at.
Throwing it at you. Okay. Let's start vaccine. So Fauci, did you see his comparisons with vaccine and natural immunity? A study came out of Israel saying that natural immunity was like 13 times more potent.
Yeah.
And then when he got asked it on CNN, he was kind of fumbling with his words and like, oh, we don't know, we'll have to see in the future, but I think you're right, but I don't think you're right. And it was like, he didn't know what to say. So what are your thoughts on the natural immunity versus vaccine? Fauci, is he an expert? Is he not? What's going on?
Well, what's strange to me is that science is no longer science, right? Like science used to be completely objective, at least that's what we were taught. And it seems now science has become more like a religion, right? Like where it's like, well, my science says versus his science says. And so, in my opinion, science, mainstream science, has lost all credibility, especially when those who disseminate their results and make decisions about how we live don't actually follow true science, real science. The science that says natural immunity is better. The science that says that Israel is the most highly vaccinated country, yet has the most COVID-related deaths and diseases. And it's the people who are getting the vaccine that are dying the most. But that's not an opinion, right? Like, that's not speculation or based on feeling, that's based on facts. So why is it that we're listening to these people and they're making decisions about our lives and they take absolutely no consideration, for the truth, for science? And so there you have it. If you really want to understand, you look at who's paying these people, right? Who's lining his pockets? Where is he getting his money from? How did he get to where he is? When we start looking into that, right, doing some investigation into that, we begin to see, oh wow, he's actually being paid by the people that are making the stuff that they're pushing on us. So it's a big Ponzi scheme, if you ask me. Again, I'm not shocked about that. I'm not shocked about powerful people manipulating and doing things that you do when you have power, right? It's kind of human nature. It's fallen, it's diabolical, it's evil, it's bad, it's not good. But what really gets my panties in a bunch, can I say that? Without being transgender? I don't wear panties. I actually don't even wear underwear. What gets my gym shorts in a bunch is that people still listen to this stuff. Why do you listen to that? Why do you believe that? Why do you follow false science? They love to say, oh, I believe the science, I follow the science. But it's not true because you're not opening your mind to see that you're being lied to, manipulated. Or at least be curious, right? Like maybe I'm wrong, but I'm curious. And that's why I keep my mind open with regard to these things and don't just do what CNN says I should do. What about you, right? Like who is your Lord? Because that's what it actually ends up becoming. It's like, Lord TV, Lord CNN, Lord Hollywood, please tell me what to do, think, be, act, and how to live. I don't understand smart people, high IQ people, people who got straight A's and 4.0s in high school and college, but yet they're too dumb to see beyond the facade. That's my little rant on that. Along the same lines of Fauci, hasn't he been found out to have been collaborating with the Wuhan laboratory and funneling US dollars towards a type of science that had been outlawed, right? The gain of function that they've been using in order to make, laboratory viruses that are superpower spreaders, right? Like why? Why are you creating this? Why was it outlawed here? Why is he still taking our money and funneling it to a Wuhan laboratory in order to create the virus that we're fighting right now, right? Problem, reaction, solution. Oh, let's create something that will infect the entire population. Everybody will say, ooh, save us. What do we do? The TV's telling us that we're all going to be wiped out. Solution. We have a drug for that. Does it take a genius? I'm not a genius. Take a genius to see this stuff. But I think what happens is people have confirmation bias. Is that it, right? Like you've already made a decision, and so you got to stick to it, right? Even if it's wrong. I've already made this decision. I already have this opinion. One thing about me that pisses a lot of people off, I change my mind. I change my mind all the time. I never pretend like I actually have the answer. I have conviction, so I'll say something with a lot of conviction, but I have no problem tomorrow saying, oh, I guess I was wrong, right? I'm not bragging. I'm saying it because I have a flexible mind. So I'll be flexible, guys, right? Work out in the gym, train your body to be strong and flexible, train your mind. Be strong and flexible, don't be locked in on anything. And you will be forgiven, right? You make mistakes, everybody makes mistakes. Just repent. But that's the problem, that's the biggest problem in our culture. No repentance. Why? Too much pride. If you're wrong, you're wrong. Just say, oh shit, I was wrong, okay. I won't do that again, or, I'm gonna change. Like me, I don't want to brag about myself, but I destroy my body. I beat the crap out of my body. And so every once in a while I gotta remind myself, it's not really a good idea, even though it's fun. Let me go and do these silly little feet workouts, right? It's kind of like I have to put my ego aside in order to do this dumb stuff, right? I'd much rather throw 600 pounds at the bar, but I have to repent for all of my foolishness. I have to say I was wrong, I shouldn't keep doing that, I'm destroying my body. Let me do something different. So that's what I'm doing here. Something different. Ooh, but it requires humility. And it's not easy for me either. Humility doesn't come naturally to me. I'll tell you that right now. I'm a prideful guy. I want to do it my way. But I grew up. Okay, 2 calf raises. All right. Advance 0. I'm just going through it. So what else you got there, Kyle? Anything else? I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube.
All right, we'll stay away from that. We'll stay away from that.
No, you can throw them in there, but if I get banned, that's why. Can't talk. 2 things I can't talk about: feminism and Fauci, and then they kick me out.
All right, so a feminist question. No, I'm just kidding. We had a question from Connor about how did you meet Colleen and when did you know she was the one?
Oh man!
Uh-oh. You won't get kicked out for this one.
I'm gonna act like I didn't.
How did we meet? Well, we were in middle school, right? Or no, we were in high school, ninth grade. We were in ninth grade, and long story short, she was from the town over, and me and my friends in my town were hanging out late at night and visiting girls from the other town, and that's how we met. I met her, and then what was very fated. We have a very strange relationship with like lots of like odd fated things, serendipity or grace, if you call it. It was supposed to just be a summer thing, right? In your high school, and you meet girls from the other town. What is that for? Summer hookup. But then situations unfolded, and her family needed her to move to Baldwin, which was my town. And so what went from being like a summer hookup became, oh, you're gonna come to my school. I guess you're my new girlfriend. Right? Is that how it happened? I guess you're my new girlfriend. She was a new girl at school, and we were boyfriend and girlfriend for 3 years through high school, and then we just stayed together through college, and now we've got 4 kids. But what's the follow-up to that question? It was how did we meet and what?
When did you know that she was the one?
When did I know she was the one? I like to say we were married at that point because we were spending so much time together. She was practically my wife when we were teenagers. Like, she was at my house. She was a part of my family. My parents like took her in, and my mom was her mentor, and we were still kids. I think about it now, and I'm like, wow, I would never let my daughter do anything like that. But we practically just got married when we were kids. So it was kind of like, it was a no-brainer after that. Like, I didn't think otherwise. It was just like, oh, okay, this is my girl. And she'll be my girl until she's not my girl, and then I realized, well, I could just make her my girl forever. Why not? And that was it. She's my girl forever. Right? What about you? When did you know I was the one? Go bother her now. Right away?
Yeah, right away. Right away. We were in high school. Yeah, in our high school yearbook, we wrote that we'd be married and have 9 kids.
Yeah.
9 kids.
Almost halfway there.
Yeah, almost halfway there. So we knew. I knew.
Okay.
I knew early on.
Amazing.
Was it when you were writing, you were drawing little heart circles with E and C?
I would sign my name, Colleen Pulse, in high school.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm sure I
she
had
was
that.
Colleen Pulse in high school. You
Yeah.
made yourself Colleen Pulse right away. The interesting thing just about she and I, as a pair, we have this capacity. I just call it grace. I recognize that we're fortunate, but it seems as if whatever we put our minds together, whatever we agree on together, it's like, okay, it's just a matter of time before that actually happens. And I didn't know that was the case until I took a retrospective look on my life. I'm like, how did we get here? How did we do this? How did that happen? And then I was like, oh wow, every time we actually believed in something together, it came to fruition. So I think that we were planting some pretty powerful seeds without even knowing what we're doing. We're like 15 years old. She's writing her name, Colleen Hulse, and I'm like visiting her like she's my wife, or like hanging out with her like she's my wife. And then it's just like our entire life just unfolded that the way that we planted those seeds. It's weird. It's weird, but I can't deny it. I'm fortunate. How did also too, like, I don't know her, we were teenagers. She didn't really know me or my potential. It just was kind of grace that she turned out to be the kind of woman that works really well with me. It wasn't like I was vetting women. All right, I'm a kid. I was just like, oh, this girl wants to hook up. I guess I'm gonna hook up with her. It wasn't like I was vetting or looking for red flags or trying to find a wife. We were kids. It just turned out, I don't know if it's because we spent so much time together or what it was. We were just kind of like, perfect match. Luck. What do you think? What do you think?
I think I saw in his family a lot of what I wanted my future to look like. So when I saw him, I could see where he was going, and I saw myself as part of that. So it was really easy, even from high school, to imagine my life with him as we got older. And it, we didn't know what that was going to look like, but it was easy to see it, to envision it.
Very cool. It's an unusual story.
Yeah, and then we got married at 23. We're 22.
22.
22. She was 22. I was 23. And we started having babies at 24. We moved to Florida at 25. And we just kept making babies and working. That was it. And it's great. It's amazing. I wish marriage would work for more people. But here's the thing, like I preach a lot, right, when it comes to like intersexual dynamics and relationships and stuff, only because I have wisdom. What did I say? 2020 is hindsight is 2020. I just look back and I'm like, wow, actually, so that's what we did and that's how we got here. So when I tell people like, marriage is good, but I think it works when you get married young, right? It helps you avoid, most people will help them avoid making bad mistakes in your youth, right? Like if we were both out there being promiscuous through our teens and 20s, right? Like they say that the more people you sleep with, particularly women, the more men that they sleep with, the lower their ability to pair bond, right? So when I say, I think marriage is great, I really wish it would work, I wish men and women would get married earlier, it's only because I look at my life and I'm like, it actually works out pretty well. I think it might work for other people. But then again, like I said, I'm lucky, so, you know, do you take advice from a lucky guy, or do you try to get his lucky rabbit's tail or whatever? I don't know. I don't think our culture supports that. I don't think it's very duplicatable in our culture, because like, what do we do in our culture? The minute there's a problem with something, we dispose of it. Everything's disposable. So there's really no sense of no one really even has a sense of longevity for their jobs or for anything, right? Everything is temporary. We live in a world where everything is disposable and temporary. So we would have to have a shift of consciousness. People would have to think differently, think more long term. I think, 100 years ago, people would be like, get married, and in their mind, they were like, oh, this is for life, right? And my parents did it, my grandparents did it. I think part of the only reason why we were able to be who we are and stay this long together is because my parents did it. So we had an example. I was like, oh, that's how it's done. So we watched my parents, and we realized, well, it's possible. And then my parents' parents, right? So we come from a generation. I come from a long line of families that worked. So I have that observation. I can see it, or I've experienced it. Where most people, a lot of people today, it's like, why would I get married? My parents hated each other. My uncle and aunts, nobody stayed together. Everybody's divorced in my family. Even my grandparents. It's the weirdest thing, but I get it. Grandparents who are divorced. It's like, why? Wow. It's just like the foundation of the entire family tree is split in half. It's destroyed when families break up, right? So it's the other thing, right? Like I'm saying, get married and get married early, but don't get married and don't get married early if you're not in it for the long haul. If you're thinking of it as a temporary fix or something to try out. That's the other thing too. People try out relationships, and I'm not sure that's the best way, right? Because then you expect that there will be an expiration date. It's like, oh, I'm just trying this out, but okay, that was. And how many times does this happen to guys? Because I take your questions and I speak to you guys, and you're like, wow, like I was trying out, right? Dating this girl, which essentially means trying out, and everything is perfect. It's like, wow, she's a perfect girl. She would make the perfect wife, guys say to me. But I want to see what else is out there, right? That comes from that whole sense of like, well, I got to try. I have to try things out. This is going to expire soon, so I had better fill my refrigerator with something else. It's a tough mindset for people these days to have this like longevity mindset. Like this is going to be forever. That's scary. That's a scary word. It's going to be forever. And I'm preaching to the choir in a lot of ways because I know that a lot of you guys believe the same way. And when we can't deny the fact that 50-60% of marriages end in divorce, and at least in a state like California, 90% of them are initiated by women, right? That just gives you food for thought, right? Like, do you want to get involved with someone who has a 90% chance of leaving you, right? That's not to say that guys are perfect, men are perfect, but it's just things we got to look at, right? We can take responsibility for our own actions, but then at the same time, we got to check these girls out, like, what are they thinking, how are they behaving, and how is the culture set up in such a way that they make decisions that aren't conducive to family. My whole goal here is to make families work again, make families great again. This shit is getting harder too. These workouts definitely force me to set my ego aside because they're such little workouts, little exercises, but they're so tough. I want to do big, powerful, strongman things. But after I do the strongman show in October, I'm probably going to take a couple months off and just focus strictly on this stuff.
Yo, Elliot, how do I get my kids to start working out more?
So, by force, my wife says, by force. Yeah, in a way, right? Like you gotta say, like we did with our family, because now we're homeschooling, that on certain days, we gotta work out. It's just a part of school, right? Like you don't skip out on phys ed when you go to school, right? So it's just, we made it a part of our schedule. But it's interesting because two of my daughters are playing soccer and my son is just starting to play baseball. And I think they're motivated now to do it more because they know it's gonna help them in their sport. So there has to be like a reason why, especially because they're all under, like my son is still 11 years old, right? My daughters are still under 15. So the body isn't fully developed yet, where like when I started lifting at like 15, like I was getting more testosterone was going up. And every time I worked out, I would see like, wow, I'm getting stronger. I'd look in the mirror and see muscles. So that's what motivated me, the progress in the actual gym. That's probably why I got addicted to it and made it my career. But I think my daughters and my son are beginning to see how it helps them with their sport, on top of the fact that I've been doing workouts at the sports field with their team. So what my kids are starting to see is, wow, I've been working out with dad at home, and when dad takes that workout out to the field to do it with the baseball team or the soccer team, I'm so much further ahead than the other kids. They're stronger in this way than the other kids, so they kind of feel prideful, right? Like, wow, like, I'm good at this, right? So it makes them feel good, thus making them want to do it more. Another thing with training youth, it's got to be fun, right? So, you know, we get in the gym here and we do like a lot of mechanical stuff. I can't have my kids do too many mechanical things. I have to let them play, right? So like, you'd be surprised at how fun it is for kids to pick up a sandbag to put on top of a platform. Right? They love that. It's not really a workout, it's kind of like a challenge. It's like, wow. And you see each one of them wrestling there with the bag. We'll do a video again soon. And then they pick it up and put it on top of the thing. Or yesterday we did farmer's carries and we want to see what the heaviest dumbbells that they could take down and back and run with. We do box jumps, right? So they get to see how high they're jumping. These are like fun things, right? Doing deadlift form, we have to do, but I blend it in there with these other fun things so that they're entertained in a way, right? Because they're kids. They want to have fun. So I try to keep it fun. That's why I put these dots on the floor. We time ourselves with dot drills and stuff like that. So these are just things to consider, you know, when you're training kids. So I bought like rubber logs, you may have seen, right? So you get to pretend to do what I'm doing, but they do it with a rubber log, right? Sandbags are huge. Pushing the sled, dragging the sled, pushing and dragging chains. You know, I built Strength Camp Gym around the entertainment factor of working out, right? My gym was one of the first that had like tires for flipping and sandbags for loading and doing strongman, carrying things on your back, dragging things, stuff like that. Like, I realize, and I'm not bragging, I'm just saying, that was one of the first guys on YouTube in particular to be doing that, right? And so the reason why I started doing that is because I wanted the people that were coming to my gym to have fun, right? I wanted them to have fun. You can see on my channel, if you look up Elliot Hulse News, Fox News or something, right? It was like local Fox News. They did an interview with me back in the day when I just started Strength Camp out in the park, and you'll hear me say exactly what I'm saying right now. You'll see young Elliot, right? 26-year-old Elliot, saying that I'm just trying to get the guys outside, fresh air, sunshine, to do fun things that you wouldn't normally do in the gym. So I think the same way with kids, right? Kids and adults, they're not much different. They want to be entertained, they want to have fun, they want to be exhilarated, while they're exercising. So you got to build that into it. Entertainment factor, right? How are you differentiating with entertainment? Fun, right? Make games. I had my kids and the soccer team play tag the other day, right? Like, when's the last time like a 16-year-old or 15-year-old girl played tag? When they're 9, when they're 7, sure, they think it's fun. But by then, they become too cool for games like that. And then you reintroduce it and they're like, oh, wow, this is fun. I haven't done this in a long time. And then they appreciate it.
I want from Marcus. Yo, Elliot, what is your biggest piece of advice for a young gym owner?
So top advice for a young gym owner, think about what I said before, right? In marketing, you have to know your market, right? Who are you speaking to? Who are you making offers to? What kind of people are they, right? Think about the entertainment factor that I mentioned before. Because once you know that those people, you can then work on the second, which is message. And the message in some way should offer somebody what they want, but also offer it in a way that's fun, easy, entertaining, right? Market, message, and then finally media, meaning how are you going to get your gym's message out there and how are you going to reach people? Most people begin with their media. Oh, I have to make a YouTube channel. Oh, I need to make an Instagram. But then when I ask them, I say, okay, well, who's your market? Who are you talking to? And what message do they resonate with? They have no idea, right? So for me, it's easy, right? I say it's easy because I've had it nailed for the past 2 decades, but I speak mostly to men, young men, average age 24. I know this from just years of market research, asking questions and seeing who's here. The average man is around 24 years old. So what message resonates with them, right? These are things related to building muscles, to be more manly, to be more attractive, to be better at your sport, to have a higher status in life, become the strongest version of yourself. You see what I'm saying? These are all kind of revolve around my message. I'm not a dating coach, right? I'm not a relationship coach, but I do recognize that a good portion of the guys that come to the website or come to my YouTube channel or come to my gym that are that age, it's because they're wanting to be attractive, right? So part of my message brings all those factors into it. So just to kind of pull back for a minute and show you what I'm talking about. Market. Who is your gym for? That's so important. You can't be for everyone. You know, everybody cracks at Planet Fitness, right? Because they don't allow you to deadlift and use heavy weights and to be a meathead in there. But you gotta understand something. That's brilliant. They're saying our market is pizza, donut eating, lazy Louie type people that want to feel like they're going to lose weight because they have a gym membership, and we don't want anybody in here intimidating those people or making them want to go away. So Planet Fitness is smart because they know their market, right? They're like fat, purple, muumuu wearing women that have no intention of doing anything except gabbing with one another over some donuts, but because they get to wear yoga pants, they do it and they think they're going to get in shape. That's okay. Guess what that is? Their market. And then their message, right? Their message is no judgment zone. I think that was it, right? Where if you go to like Gold's Gym in Venice Beach, the whole thing's a judgment zone, right? You go there because I want, hey, come and judge me, check me out, right? People go there to train to be judged, right? Bodybuilders go there for the purpose of let me get my body in shape so that I can be judged, right? So you know that those are 2 totally different messages for 2 totally different markets, right? The fat, purple, muumuu wearing mama versus, you know, the greased up Guido who wants people to look at him. Both of them are doing what they're supposed to do by knowing their market and delivering a message that resonates with them. And then the media by which you do it is actually an afterthought. It really doesn't matter what media you use, except if you understand where your market is, right? So the fat, purple, muumuu wearing mama might be reading Prevention Magazine or People Magazine, or she's probably more likely to be on Facebook than, you know, the greased up Guido who's reading like Muscular Development or Men's Fitness or something like that, right? So the market has, the media also has to match those 2. But think in those terms, market, message, media. And that's those are principles for direct marketing. You got to know those 3 things, and your gym will do just fine. Part of the reason why Strength Camp did well, even when I was in the ghetto, I don't know if you know the story of Strength Camp. I started out of the back of my van, training people with trash in the parks. It's part of my message, right? Training with people in the parks. And then ultimately I ended up getting a warehouse in South St. Pete amongst crackheads and prostitutes. But I had people driving from, you know, out an hour away to come and train with me at this crappy little warehouse gym with a bunch of crackheads and prostitutes around. Why? Because I made it very clear in my marketing who I'm talking to, right? They knew that I'm coming to a gym that's made for men to do manly things. That was kind of my hook, was come here and we're gonna lift things and drag things and do things that your dad used to do when he lived on the farm, right? That was like the hook. So these guys were like, wow, that's not, I'm not gonna get that at Gold's Gym, I'm not gonna get that at Planet Fitness, I'm not gonna get that anywhere. I'm gonna drive an hour so I can go meet with this guy who's talking specifically to me. So I have guys that drove Maseratis for an hour to come and see me in my warehouse gym where, you know, where we're playing with trash, right? Why did that work? I knew my market. I knew where their mindset was. A lot of these guys, they were bored. They work in offices all day. They go home with their kids and their wife, and they want to like be around and do something that's like more manly. So I created an environment for that. And that was my message, you know, is you get to do real men workouts. That was a part of one of my hooks. Marketing and sales is everything, man. I could talk to you all day about how to be a great trainer, and that's great stuff, that's awesome stuff, but you're not gonna be a great trainer if you don't have clients. You know clients if you're afraid of marketing and sales. You really have to put your mind there. I had to figure that out when I started out on my own, right? I started studying Dan Kennedy, and that's what I would suggest you study too. I don't even know if he's still alive, but he is the godfather of direct response marketing. And he taught me that triumvirate, market, message, media. And there's a lot more where that came from, bro. So I wish you luck in your new gym. I would say start small, right? I started out of my van, training people in the parks. I would say start out of your garage at home if you can, or you know, keep your overhead low. This is not a time to get into debt. I wouldn't suggest taking out a big loan. Try to do everything on a shoestring budget, and therefore, you know, your bottom line looks healthy. And the last piece of advice I'll give you is something that my father told me when I was very young, and he says it to this day. He says, whatever you do, be the best. Really, truly, honestly, aim to be the best at what you do in your locale, in your industry, amongst the other trainers. Differentiate yourself. Being the best means being top dog in your category, right? Being top dog for what it is that you do. Be the best. And you may have heard like I think it's called the red ocean versus blue ocean theory in business, right? Where it goes like this. The red ocean is where all the sharks are munching on all the, you know, they're eating the other fish. It's just a mess, right? Boiling red water, blood. There's a lot of activity going on there, right? That's a place that you might have to go to compete. You're competing against all the other sharks. Blue water means, hey, nobody's out over here. Nobody's out over here saying anything or doing anything about that over there. And that needs attention, but the water is still blue. You go there, that's where you want to go. And I have a tendency, just happens to be my nature, to want to go where the waters are bluer, meaning go to where there's nobody else. When I first started out, everybody was about getting abs and being a body, looking great. You guys remember Ziz? Z-Y-Z-Z? He was like huge on YouTube when I first started out. Him and guys like Herman, like something Herman, I forget his name. But these are like pretty boys. That whole ocean was red. People were teaching you how to have abs and a good looking body. Go back to my YouTube channel when I first started. I'm not talking about having a beautiful body. I'm talking about how to lift this big 100-pound sandbag, how to drag this thing or push this car. I differentiated myself because nobody else was over there doing it. Now there's a lot, of course, but nobody was doing strongman object stuff on YouTube or even out in the world. CrossFit now does that stuff, but again, I know I'm a pioneer. I started that stuff because the water was blue. But then those blue waters turn red at some point because then everybody realizes, oh, there's blue waters over there. That guy's eating. And then they all go over there. So you got to kind of have to stay ahead of yourself a little bit and see where the zeitgeist is moving. It's part strategic, but also, again, a part of my nature and what I want to do, who I want to talk to, the markets that I personally resonate with. And then you see me moving towards red pill stuff, right? I'm starting to integrate, for the past 2 years, intersexual dynamics and thinking above and beyond the effeminate brainwashing that has gone on in our culture for the past 100 years that has made men weaken their souls, weaken their minds, weaken their hearts, right? So much so that women don't trust them anymore, and then that's why relationships don't work. There's been a swapping of the gender roles. But anyway, blue water for me means I'm gonna start addressing this stuff because no one seems to be really paying attention to it, especially amongst those who I talk to, my market, right? No one's really talking about this. Now it's coming around. It's coming around. You're seeing more and more red pill YouTubers coming out and they're talking about intersexual dynamics and the truth about feminine nature and how men are to be more masculine, right? They call it toxic, but that means be more masculine. So I'm just kind of like giving you that so that you can see my trajectory and the way I think, so that you can integrate it right into your marketing, right into your gym, and into everything that you do, dude. So I hope that helps.
Yo, Elliot, who is your favorite collab you've ever done, and who's one that you would like to do most?
My favorite collab, I have to say, was with Cali Muscle. I know Cali and I haven't spoken since 2014 when we did that, but I had so much fun doing that video with him. He's huge, such a nice guy. Had a good time. Arash Babu, I think that's his name, was the video producer at the time, and he was doing a lot of. He's the one that brought CT Fletcher onto the scene. Arash. He also brought Cali Muscle onto the scene. So he was like the producer of a lot of new people, and I was friends with him. And he said, "Hey, do you want Cali to come out to Florida during the Strength Camp Challenge and do some videos together?" And if you look on my channel, it probably has more views. I think it's the top viewed video on my channel, even though we had to change the music because it was copywritten, and back then we weren't paying attention to stuff like that. But yeah, Cali Muscle. Shout out to Cali Muscle. If you guys follow Cali Muscle, just comment on his video, say Elliot loves you. Elliot loves you, Cali. And then who would I want to do a collab with right now? I don't know. I mean, it depends on the type of collaboration, for what market, right? What message. You know, there are people that I follow, and there are people that I admire. There are people I like watching their videos and stuff, but I'm not really even sure if like a collaboration would be necessary. As far as fitness is concerned, I really like Ben Patrick, right? Knees over toes guy, right? He used to live here in Clearwater, but that was before I didn't know who he was when he was here. But I think, of course, because I'm doing the workouts, you know that I believe this, that those workouts, those lower limb workouts, the knees over toes workouts, are the future. It's cutting edge. It's the best stuff around, particularly for a guy like me who's always had lower leg problems, knee problems, ankle problems. In fact, I was actually even thinking, because I'm putting together routines for my daughter's soccer team, my son's baseball team, and I'm working more with athletes again, right? Funny, like everything comes full circle. Of course, I'm a volunteer now, but I'm working with a lot of young athletes once again. And I was actually thinking about hitting him up and asking him for some advice on creating routines that don't require equipment out on the field, that are knee over toe friendly for the kids. But I think I pretty much nailed that just by just reading his website and watching his videos. But I think anybody that would be worth bringing into the gym to do some instructional videos with, teaching videos and some entertainment, yeah, it'll probably be him. Yeah, Ben Patrick. If you ever come back to Florida, Ben, let me know, hit me up. Maybe we'll do something together, right? No pressure. Not trying to make it happen, but I think it would be cool. As I descend into my ATG split squat, am I doing it right? Right? Maybe you can come and critique me and make sure I'm doing everything right. Even though the app is very helpful. I have hack squats next. Do you know where hack squats come from? You know why that name is called hack squats? George Hackenschmidt. You should look up George Hackenschmidt. He was like old-time strongman wrestler from like the late 1800s, and he was a total badass. I think they called him the Lion or something like that. But he was a wrestler. He was a strongman. It was just an all-around badass, and one of the first guys in what back then they called physical culture. They called it physical culture back then. Of course, we call it, you know, all kind of fitness today, I guess. But check out George Hackenschmidt, and his legs were so strong because he would do hack squats. But I'm going to show you right now. That's it. Very good. Hey, thanks for hanging out with me here today. Thanks for sending your questions in for me to jive here with you during these workouts. Hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, done.